It's nothing in particular. It's not that everything was so heavy on me, and because I've had this pressure my entire life: molestation, rape. My birth mother left me. It's on and on and on. Got divorced. So I was fired from a few jobs years ago because I couldn't get out of the bed. I was so depressed I couldn't move.
But I want something that's going to keep.
One.
Oh, yeah, the key.
Welcome, guys, to another edition of the BS
Welcome
podcast.
We're not going to be rude.
I'm the partner, Frankie P.
Maria P.
Tracy P.
I will do the proper introductions, but let me first say this. Today's episode and today's show, we're going to actually get a little serious today. So, if you are in sales, if you're an entrepreneur, you own your own business, and it is stressful. The challenges come with it. So today we're going to deal with how the struggles of mental illness. So we're going to be a little transparent. We're going to be a little open today, and we're just going to see where it goes. But let me introduce our guest today. Our guest is a salesperson. She's a property manager, right?
Yep.
But she agreed to come on, and I actually know Venus because I've seen her on social media, and I didn't know. I literally did not know and everyone on social media is a superstar. and everyone posts the great things that are happening in their life in social media. So whenever you're scrolling through and all you see are the happy faces and the trips that everyone taking, but no one takes the time to pull the curtain back and see what's happening behind the curtain and some of the challenges that people are going through dealing in the stresses of sales, marketing, entrepreneurship. And so we want to tackle that today. And I want to introduce our guest. Let's give a warm welcome to Ms. Venus Brown.
Yes.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Very glad to be here. Very glad to be here. And you are right. I am going to be open. I am an open book. Anything you want to know, I'm going to tell it.
Wow. Okay. Well, let's start there. Can you let them know? Just let them know a little bit about yourself.
Okay. So I am an assistant property manager in Annapolis at Bay Ridge Gardens. I'm also a licensed realtor in Maryland. I've been licensed since 2014. I've been in property management since 2014. I got into real estate because I got fired while I was on FMLA. They removed the position. They fired me, whatever, while I was off. And so I just made the decision, I have 5 kids, or 5 grown kids, 5 grandkids. But my baby was in high school, and I decided, I've been going back and forth about this, and I'm just going to jump out there into real estate, So I did it and loved it, and here I am, just trying to be of assistance. So when we talk about mental health part, so the earliest memory, I was molested as a child at my daycare. The daycare provider, she did daycare and had a boarding house, and one of the boarders molested me. So I remember that. I remember an incident, and it was in 3rd grade, and I remember this so vividly. I was so angry, and I could not express, I didn't tell my parents what happened. I couldn't express what was happening. And one day I got so angry in class, I actually picked up my, the desk chair connection that you used to have. I picked it up and threw it at the teacher. Because I don't know what she said, but whatever it was, it set me off. And so I can remember these moments. So then moving forward as a teenager, at 16, I was date raped. But even further back, let me go back. So my biological mother walked out on me and my dad when I was about a year old. So it was me and my dad. So then my dad remarried when I was 4. So when I speak of my mom, that's who I'm speaking of.
Stepmother.
Yeah, my stepmother. I don't have a relationship with my biological mother by choice. I tried a few times and it just didn't work, and I finally just came to the realization that I'm okay with not having this relationship. I love her. She birthed me, but I am okay with not actively having her in my life. And I say that to say that the older that I've gotten and I'm starting to learn more about my mental illness. So I was diagnosed bipolar 2 years ago. Before that, I was what I like to call functional depressive, because I was still functioning in the world, but behind closed doors, I was a wreck. But the more I learn about it, the more I start to kind of understand her, because she dealt with depression, my father dealt with depression,
Okay.
so it just kind of passed along. So the more I understand my mental illness, I kind of start to understand. I still haven't gotten to the point where I'm ready to reach out and invite her back in my life. I don't know that that will happen, but I'm starting to understand it a little bit more.
Okay.
I had a couple of attempted suicides when I was a teenager. As an adult, I had a really depressive moment when I split up from my husband of 17 years. We had 5 children together. There was a year in 2018 where I was so depressed that I missed Christmas. I did not spend Christmas with my kids, and I loved the holidays. Couldn't get out of bed. There was one day I'm driving home from work, and I'm literally looking for a place to run my car off the road so that I just kill myself and not everybody else on the road. Couldn't find this place, but luckily I had a friend named Guy who was a pastor. I called him and I said, hey, I just need you to talk to me while I'm going home, because I just need you to do that. So along this journey, I realized that I had certain triggers, and I could feel when the depression was coming on, and so I could distract myself enough to push it back down where it was. I wasn't addressing it. I was just pushing it back down and pushing it back down.
Go ahead, Tracy.
I was, I heard everything that you said, but I heard you also, you have 5 kids. Did any of this, you think any of, some of it when you were driving and you wanted to just, because I went through a little something when I'm driving, I should just, but not hurt myself, but maybe hurt somebody else. Was any of it, do you think, postpartum with the kids?
No, this was
None
in
of it?
2018, so
Oh,
all
okay,
of the kids
okay,
were adults at
okay,
this point.
Okay.
But
wow.
before that, no, I don't think postpartum, because I was having these feelings before I even had kids.
Yeah, you said that.
Right.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
Right. And then also, like, when you talk about when you bring up the kids, so when I had my first psychiatric appointment when I was diagnosed as bipolar, I had my oldest daughter with me, because at that point I realized that
So how were you at that age when you?
that was 2 years ago. So I
that you
was
got
48.
that. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was 48. So at that point, what was I saying?
You went in.
Oh yeah, I had her go with me, because I realized that, so with bipolar, you have a manic side where you're real high, and it's just you go, go, go. Your mind is moving 1,000 miles a minute, but you're productive. That was me. I'm productive. Like, I'm like top producer in my real estate office for like 5 years running, because I'm just in these manic moments, and I'm just bam, bam, bam. But the other side of that depression is as high as I was, is as low as I was. So I had her with me in that first session because I knew that there were things going on that I couldn't explain, and she could tell her what was happening as a child growing up with me.
And what did she say?
So for her, what she says is that when I'm not on medication, she has a completely different mother. Completely different. She can hear it in my voice over the phone that something's wrong. I don't recognize it. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I don't recognize it, but she picks up on it. And so when she was telling the psychiatrist all these things growing up, and I'm just like, I don't even recognize it. I don't remember that these things happen. And it was enlightening because I got to see what they saw and how they felt. And it wasn't, even all of them now, and I felt so guilty, but they all will even tell you now, Mom, you were great. Like, Dad left, and you picked up the ball, and you kept us fed, and you kept things fun, and you kept things going. And I realized that in those moments, I was manic because I had these 5 kids that I had to take care of. And regardless of whatever it is I'm going through, I gotta make sure they eat. I gotta make sure they're dressed. I gotta make sure they go to school. So even though I had those moments where I would be in my room and I wouldn't come out for hours, they knew, oh, Mom's having a bad day or Mom's sad.
So what is the difference, or how does anyone tell the difference between Venus simply having a bad day, or when was it, I guess, found out what the trigger was? How did you find out what the trigger was?
So for me, I pull away from everybody and everything, and I go off into this cocoon, and I don't come back out until I can deal with the world again. My best friends know if I pull away and I don't answer the phone, they know I'm going through a depressive moment, and so they reach out when they can. The kids will reach out, but the last episode that I wrote about is probably about a month ago.
When you say wrote about, is it a
I
journal
posted
that
it.
you keep?
I posted it. So
you wrote a
Facebook,
book?
when I post on Facebook, it's kind of therapeutic.
Okay.
Because I post about
Okay.
so on.
Okay.
So I was trying to explain to people what it's like, because you have so many people saying, "Oh, you just got the blues," or "You're just going through the motions." And I wrote it like this. I said, picture your brain sitting in a fog, and there's your little you sitting right behind my ear, and it's just telling me things would be better if you weren't here, telling me different ways to kill myself. I have no desire to die, none, but it's myself telling me these things, and I'm basically analyzing how to do it. What do I have in my house that I can use? And at the same time, out loud, I have to keep telling myself, your brain is trying to trick you. Your brain is trying to trick you. And this went on from sun up to sun down. And it was so bad, about 9 o'clock, it got to the point where I was about to call my daughter and tell her I'm about to commit myself because I can't take this anymore. And that's what I try to get people to understand. And it's a physical exhaustion. And the older I got, the more I realized I don't have the same triggers that I had before, because there was no trigger this time. I literally went to sleep fine.
Okay.
And I woke up and could not physically get out of the bed.
What are some of the triggers?
So for me, it's like there's all this mounting stuff going on. Life just lifes. Okay. Everybody has things that goes on. But for me, it feels like it's just one thing after another, after another, after another, and it's just piling on and piling on and piling on. And when we talked about before about how people don't like to talk about mental illness because of the stigma, it's not the stigma for me.
Okay.
I don't care about the stigma. I don't care what you think about it, because your opinion don't change the zeros in my bank account. I don't care.
Hello.
But for me, it's about not wanting to reach out for help because I don't want to feel like I'm a burden.
A burden to whom? Who
Anyone.
Okay.
Friends, family, especially my kids. My oldest daughter, and I just had to talk with her. Like, I lean on her really hard.
How old is she?
She is 29. I lean on her really hard because, like I said, she can sometimes see it before I can. She can recognize when I'm about to go, because and I remember we had just had a conversation. I said, Lexi, I know I'm manic right now, but I'm getting so much done. I'm so productive. She said, yeah, Ma, but you know what the other side of that is going to be like. And I knew it. And it came. But here's the thing. When you're in that manic state, everything seems logical. I could be saying things that are inappropriate, and I don't realize that it's inappropriate in the moment that I'm saying it. It seems logical. It seems normal. It does not seem inappropriate.
Does the manic always bring on to the depression?
Yes, always. Always. That depression always follows the mania. Now, the mania, there's no set time frame that mania will last. Like this last time, it was like 2 or 3 months that I was just high. And then when I hit that bottom, and I started having the suicidal thoughts, that's when I knew this is different, because I hadn't had suicidal thoughts since 2018. So that's when I knew this was different. And I knew at this point that, okay, I have to get back on some sort of medication. So I was on 2 different medications since I was diagnosed. Those first 2 medications they put me on, they made me gain weight, which made me more depressed. Didn't work. But now I'm on Prozac. I think I've been on it now for 3 to 4 weeks. And it typically takes between 2 and 6 weeks to fully get in your system. But this is probably the 2nd week that I have had successive good days, back to back, back to back.
Good.
I lost a very dear friend a few days ago. Had I not been in this mind frame, I don't think I would have been able to handle it.
And taking your meds
Right.
too.
Right.
Because I know someone, I have a family member that if they don't take their medicine, they could say, do anything to their kids, and where you have to call someone to come and get them to. So, yeah.
Yeah.
But
So
when
when-
she's on her meds, she's fine.
Yeah.
And one of her meds was making her big. And she didn't want to take it because she was gaining so much weight. And then when she wasn't on her meds, it wasn't pretty.
Yeah.
At
So
all.
this just evens
At
me out. It makes me very level. I can feel when I'm sad. I lost my friend. I was sad. I could feel that. And when I was happy looking at my grandchild, I could feel that happiness. But when I'm on that manic side, it's just, it's out of control. It's, my mind is moving faster than I can keep up with. But when I'm on that depressive side, it's like it's a physical exhaustion. I literally spent 4 hours trying to talk myself into sitting up in the bed, and then another 2 hours to get out of the bed. So it's like I think at this point in my life, I realize I can no longer just stop taking the medication because I don't like it. So I've made a commitment now, and I've told all of my kids, and they all didn't know that I was bipolar. So I've told them all. I've had an individual discussion with each of them, and I've had a
Look
group
right there in that
discussion.
camera and tell
I'm
them.
sorry.
Look right there in that camera and tell them.
So I had a conversation with them all, and I made a commitment that this time I'm not going to just stop the medication if I don't feel like it's working, because I know it could be my mind tricking me. I can't trust it. So they all know that if I reach out to any one of you and say, I don't feel like this medicine is working, they know what to do. They go into action. They know they have my psychiatrist's name, number. They know exactly what to do. And so I, say I'm making this commitment that I'm going to stay on this medication no matter what. I even started a diary now for every day. I said, because if I ever get to that point where I'm there again, they need to know what has been going on up to this point.
That triggered you.
Right. And so if I can't explain it, they can explain it. So that's the deal we have right now.
That's really, really good though
Yeah.
that you do that, because
Yeah, my kids like
I know
that,
my
they
family
are,
member's not doing that, and that is really good. I'm gonna talk to her about
and
that.
the thing about it is that my kids are like, the most important factor in my life right now. I don't have a significant other. And at this point, don't even know if that's going to be possible because this is a lot to deal with. You know, it's a lot to ask somebody to deal with. Because I'm still learning how to deal with it.
So how does the mania and the depressiveness, how does it affect your working, your job, if you're at work or if you're handling business, how does it affect your business?
So I was fired from a few jobs years ago because I couldn't get out of the bed. I was so depressed I couldn't move. This time around with this job, I knew that I would have these issues, and I immediately let them know and asked for reasonable accommodation. So it's in my file.
Okay.
So now they know. If I have to leave because I have to go to a therapy session, they know I got to leave for a therapy session.
When you first did your application.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If I have to take a mental day, I can take a mental day. And my boss, she's absolutely great. She understands it because she deals with some sort of depression. So she understands. And she's like, you know, if you need the day, take the day. Just take the day, you know? And so that helps a lot because now I don't have to worry about how am I going to pay my bills because now I'm getting fired again, you know? So if you have somebody that understands, if you know, you can tell them what's going on and they understand, and then, you know, you have some backup, you have some assistance.
So is the pressure from I'm just going to call it a stressor. Are the stressors that come along as far as especially black women, y'all, you guys, I really take my cap off to you guys.
Thanks, Frank.
So the stressors of being a black woman, being a mother, raising a family, the stressors of the work. That's why I really applaud you. I don't know. And you got to deal with me.
And that's why I call her Superwoman.
Yes, but those stressors. So having those stressors, is that what takes it on? And then if that does take it on, would that not?
I was gonna say no too, and I don't even have that, but I
It's
knew it
a
wasn't.
chemical imbalance in my brain.
Wow.
I was getting ready to go.
Yeah, I was
It's
gonna
a
say
chemical imbalance. It doesn't matter. Like it's just life.
Right.
It
So-
doesn't matter. The difference between she and I is that she knows everything that she has to deal with, and she knows how to structure that and what she needs to do if she needs to take some self-time, whatever. For me, there's no warning. There's nothing that
it's not.
there's nothing in particular that will trigger it.
Yeah.
It's nothing in particular. It's not that everything was so heavy on me, and because I've had this pressure my entire life. Molestation, rape, my birth mother left me. It's on and on and on. Got
So those
divorced.
pressures weren't
On and on and on.
the triggers.
No,
Even
there's
though
no.
that was
It's the
chemical
chemical
imbalance.
imbalance.
And with your medicine, you can handle it.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
It's
So, do you
when I'm
think
not when I'm not on the medication, it's like everything seems like it's so heavy that I can't deal with it. When I'm on the medication, it's like, well, there's another thing I got to deal with. Okay. Keep it pushing.
So when you going through those things that you went through, were you already in a depressive state, or did those things catapult you into depression because of the way you felt about yourself, or how did those things affect who you are, or the illness that you have? How did the thing starting from when you were small, how do you think they affect you, or it's just something that when you're going through something, those things pop up and you're like, I don't like myself because of this, or this happened to me, it was my fault. You know, what about those things trigger, or do you believe that created a part of this depression and this manic? Do you think those things that happened to you
Played a role in
played a role in it, made it stronger maybe?
Right.
Because I think all people have some form of depression. I have it, but I've I guess I deal with it when I was small. I remember times where I hated Christmas, Thanksgiving. I didn't want to have any parts of that. And I didn't realize it until I was an adult that, hey, when it's not sunny outside, when it's cold outside, I feel a certain way. I feel depressed. And they came up with this light, that you can use. And I said, I need one of those lights because in the wintertime, I start feeling down and low, and I don't want to deal with these things. I'm still that way today. Like, I don't really care about Christmas and Thanksgiving and those holidays during that time. But when January hits, I look forward to the spring and it being light outside and warm, and I hate being cold, all of that. Cold makes me feel depressed and sad, and I don't even want to go into those months. But I don't know if that's mental illness or it's just a depression, or how you feel. I don't know.
Because I hate
kind
the
of like
winter.
a seasonal.
I can't stand the winter. I don't want to come out the house when it's cold. But I don't think that that means that it's a mental thing for us.
Right.
It's just what we don't like.
And and things have happened in my past that I think about sometimes, and I wonder, is this why I'm like this because this happened to me?
It could be.
It
could be.
But I've not felt so, and sometimes I can move around, just like you're saying, but I can control it, I think, because you never know. Sometimes I feel like I'm in this body, but maybe I'm really in a coma, if that makes sense. And I'm seeing myself doing these things, but it's not really me because I'm in this coma. That's what my brain tells me sometimes. Okay, I don't know if that's whatever that is, but I'm not told anybody that's how I feel, but sometimes I feel like I am looking at myself doing these things, and that's not me. I'm over here and I'm in this comatose state just watching, and I see myself doing these things, and I'm like, should I be doing that? Is that really me? And I'm like, okay, you're just chill and come back to reality. But I don't know what that is.
So when I think back to like childhood, like there are a lot of my childhood that I cannot remember. My earliest memory is that molestation. That's my earliest memory. And that was in third grade. I remember bits and pieces of myself. My dad was in the Army, so I was an Army brat. So I remember bits and pieces. I remember living in Germany because I was jumping on the bed in the apartment, fell, and bust my head open. Had to get stitches. I remember that. Outside of that, I don't really remember that age.
Well, you know what? I don't remember a whole lot either
Neither do I.
until maybe second or third grade. Okay. However, you have kids today that remember stuff from kindergarten.
So with the fact that I can't remember these things, what I kind of feel like is I don't know that if those things pushed me to this state. I think that every time something happened, I pushed it aside. Every single time something happened, I pushed it aside because I didn't want to deal with it. I didn't want to face it. As I got older, I now have kids. I ain't got time to deal with this. I have a husband. I ain't got time to deal with this. So everything just kept getting pushed and pushed and pushed. And I don't think it was until my kids left the house where it was just me and I was alone with my thoughts. And I had the time to just sit there. Like, I'm thinking about why my relationships aren't working. I'm thinking about my career. Like, I don't even remember as a child thinking this is what I want to be when I grow up. Nothing.
What do you mean?
Like, how everybody says, oh, I wanted to be a doctor when I wanted to grow up. Or I wanted to be a fireman. I don't have a memory like that of thinking that I wanted to do anything.
Okay.
So when I actually started working, I was basically the person who wore all the hats. So all the stuff that everybody kept saying ain't my job description, I picked it up and I did it. If I needed a job and I, like this property man with Section 8 and LIHTC, I don't know none of this stuff. When I got into it, I learned it. And that's what I have been doing. I jump in, I learn it, and I just get good at it. But is it what I want to do? I don't, at this point in my life, I feel like I'm put here to be of service in some form or fashion. I don't know what. Maybe it's everything that I've done has been a part of being of service. But I still feel like there's something else that I should be doing, and I don't know what it
You
is.
may have met your calling by just expressing what you're going through, because there's a lot of people that will not do that. They won't tell you anything.
They won't.
You don't, people don't understand, you know?
Right. And
They
that's
don't wanna
why
be
I post-
judged.
That's why I post the things that I do on Facebook.
Yeah,
Right.
They don't want to.
So
And, you
you're
know, a
actually
lot of
helping
people-
someone.
A lot of people will say, you're an overshare. I don't care. I overshare
Continue
everything.
that.
Because without fail, every time I post something, there are people in my
You're
inbox.
helping somebody
I
else.
felt this
Yeah.
way too.
You're
I
helping
felt this-
somebody.
I did this. I went
You need to
that.
get with Frank and write a book.
And that's,
Yeah, that's what you need to
that's
do.
why we are filming this today,
Mm-hmm.
because this will live in infamy. This show will live in infamy. And the things that you are sharing today, someone can literally go back, listen to stories that you're sharing, and relate to it. They can relate to what it is that you're going through, and they can say, you know what, that was me. And so, you know, I wanted to go into as far as, when did you decide? Was it this decision that you made to have your the diagnosis, or someone told you, "Hey, Venus, we need you to go in and we need you to find it, because these are the things that we're seeing outwardly"?
No, it was me.
Okay.
It was me because
And that's big.
I remember this very distinctly. I was living in Upper Marlboro, and my two daughters were living with me, and I was in a depressive state. And so they came to my room, and they were trying to talk to me. Mom, you need to get back on your medication. You need to go back to therapy. And I didn't want to hear it. And I'm just like, y'all just got to leave me alone. And my oldest daughter got pissed with me. She just got pissed. She's like, I'm trying to help you, and you just shut me out. And she went off. And this is my best friend. And I'm sitting here like, did I really just treat her like that? And it really is, like, I believe that whatever it is in your life that means the most to you, if you want to keep it and, you know, you want to make sure that it stays intact, then you got to do some soul searching and make the decision that I know that this is how you feel, but this ain't real. It's not real. It's like you're thinking these things and they're not real.
So, going back to, and studies have already shown that up until the age of 7, we're all in like a dreamlike state. You know, kid. So, comparing that dreamlike state to where you are now, is there a comparison, or how does it relate?
I think that's interesting because I did not realize I had been molested. I just always thought I had dreamed it. I just thought I dreamed it, and you know, until I got older and the rape happened, and it brought me back to the molestation, and I was going, wait, that was not a dream. That was real. That was real. And it wasn't until I was an adult that I realized that was real.
So that's probably why you weren't able to share it as,
Yeah.
as the third grader.
Yeah, because I never felt shame about it. I never felt like it was my fault. Not the rape, none of it. I never felt like it was my fault. I just spent so many years pushing things down and not dealing with it because it was just easier to keep moving forward. But not knowing that I'm pushing all this stuff down, but I'm carrying it with me everywhere I go.
You mentioned that the things that you remember were all pretty much negative things, bad things that happened. What happy things or good things? Do you have any good memories?
I remember my birth mother coming back into my life and spending some weekends with her. Now, these weekends were very toxic. My mother was on drugs. She was always fighting. So I would go over there, she'd get into a fight, they'd be fighting, my mother was fighting. She'd be smoking or getting high, my mother was getting high. But I was with my mother.
So it didn't matter.
And it didn't matter. That was a happy moment for me. Those were happy moments.
But it was still
But it was still
a negative
negative. It was still
experience.
Negative. It was still a
Yeah,
negative experience.
yeah. So I can see how that could mess with the brain, with the mind, because you're mixing negativity with happiness.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know?
And you don't when you're in that state, you don't realize it. It seems normal.
Right.
It really just seems normal, like it's just every day, just normal. But
it was normal.
when I told
That's what
friends
you
and exes that I had got diagnosed, they were like, "That's it."
So what is the greatest, I'm piggybacking on what Maria just shared. What is the greatest moment other than just being with your mother that you can remember? So maybe your wedding. So how did you feel? So let's go. Yeah, how did you feel like when you got proposed to?
I didn't get proposed to. So let me explain that. So my husband, he was my high school sweetheart. And so we graduated in 90, and he was also my first. So he left for basic training, Marines, in August of 1990. He got out of basic training, and then he was on a ship to somewhere, whatever. So he's on a ship for like 3 months. Before that, we had talked about, neither one of us wanted to get married till we were 30. But while he's on this ship, he writes me a letter and says, "I don't want to wait till I'm 30. My mother's coming to come pick you up next weekend so you can go get a ring." Okay.
From the ship.
That was his
From the
proposal.
ship. That was his proposal. I went with his mama to K Jewelers, picked out the cheapest ring there because I didn't want her to think that I was trying to steal her son's
The
money.
one in Landover? No. In Landover Mall?
Yes! Yes, it was in Landover Mall.
That's the first one I remember.
Yes, it was in Landover Mall. And that is how
That was
we got
Gus.
married.
That was Gus.
That's how we got married.
Well, at least
But-
you got married.
We got married, but I mean, I loved him. He loved me, but it wasn't. I'm getting married. It was. I'm getting married.
So was it a wedding or was it that you just guys went to the Justice of the Peace?
No, it was a wedding in my parents' house. I picked out my wedding dress from a JCPenney catalog.
Okay.
Our honeymoon was at the Marriott in Greenville.
Oh, shucks. I ain't had none
Well,
of that.
yeah, I
So
mean-
that's a great thing. Cheers.
It was basic, but he was in the military.
Yeah,
Y'all were
absolutely.
extremely young.
Yeah,
So
you know.
And I know you said something about you don't know if you will ever find someone that would deal with what you're going through. You will. You will.
Yeah, I can't even think about that at this
So
point.
I know
'cause-
what I'm just saying. It'll happen eventually.
And for a while, it was depressing because I'm like, it's got to be me. I'm the common denominator. What is wrong with me? What am I doing that is just driving people away? Because it seems like when we end, the next person that they find is the love of their life and they get married.
That's
and I'm
because
going,
that was the
what
person that they
hell?
were supposed to be with. Because I'm single. I've never been married, and it's okay.
Yes, and it
It's okay.
used to depress me. It doesn't anymore.
Don't
And
let it.
It doesn't anymore. I'm open to having a life partner, but it cannot be anyone that does not understand what I'm dealing
Absolutely.
with.
all right, she put that out there, y'all.
Did you hear
She
her?
is open.
And that's right.
Okay.
And I'm open to, but not by any means necessary.
I'm open, but not anytime soon. I'm still learning.
You working on you.
How
That's
to
right.
deal with
That's
this
right.
and how. And
Yeah.
that's
That's
I, you know, I said, you know, I'm not saying that I'm good until I know that this medication is completely in my system and I'm still going. I'm still
You good
Yeah.
in a sense because you can sit here and talk about it. So I'm
Let-
just
let me
gonna say
ask
that,
a
but
question.
I understand what you're saying.
As far as nutrition and the things that you, because I'm big on the things that you put in your body and how those chemical, you know, we have a lot of byproducts in our food. We have sodas, we have sugars, we have salts, we have all these different things that we're putting in our body that are not supposed to be there. And I'm truly big on what you eat affects who you are.
And it
Okay.
does.
And I was wondering, had a doctor ever said go to a nutritionist, write down the things that you're eating during these depressive times, or and that's something that you may want to look at.
Because they do
Because-
that when you have hot flashes.
Yeah, they
It's the
do it with
foods that
everything.
you eat.
Like
With everything, like you said, yeah.
right with I used to deal with Crohn's disease. It's a digestive disorder, and I had to figure out what things triggered my illness, the pain, and they thought that I had some mental issues because they said there's nothing wrong with you. We don't understand why you're having pain. You need to go see a therapist. They told me all these things because they couldn't figure out what was causing the pains and the cramping and all the different things that I was going through and the weight loss and all of that. And I had to figure it out on my own. You know, I had to help myself. Okay. So I tell anybody, if you're going through something, if it's joint pain, hip pain, whatever it is, try to figure out what you're putting in your system. So I knew that I had to give up soda. I gave that up almost 30 years ago. I won't drink any soda. And if I do, every once in a while, it's not going to kill you. I might have it with a little vodka or something. Yeah. You know, things like that. There's just certain things that I won't eat. I don't drink dairy anymore. You know, so you may want to take a look at the things that you're eating. You know, have along with your diary. Say today I ate tomatoes or whatever, and then in the next couple of weeks, if things go left, you can start. Yeah, what was I eating? And when I was feeling this way, I didn't have this in my diet because it could be everything that you put in your body goes all the way through. You know, the nutritions, the chemical, everything. So it could be a trigger, and the medical people do not talk to you about that. Do not talk to us about it. You know, vitamin D also is, if you're low lacking vitamin D, that helps or causes or assists with depression. So my kids, I took them to the doctor. They didn't do any vitamin D tests on the kids. They didn't. And I said they need to because I am low on vitamin D. I have to take the prescription vitamin D. And they were like, yeah, they're low. I'm like, well, why don't you all give those tests? And they really didn't have an answer. But my son is on it now, and my daughter takes a regular pill. But I was telling my mother that with the disease that she has, vitamin D for us in our community is causes a lot of our issues. So it's something you may want to look into.
Yeah, so no, I've never had a physician talk to me about nutrition and things like that, but I do have a friend whose mom is really into healthy alternatives. She really wants me to try something, an alternative to the medication. And it's fine, but in this moment, I was having suicidal thoughts that I knew I hadn't had since 2018, and I needed something quick.
Well,
I needed something quick, and I didn't have time to try and research.
Right.
This.
No.
It was just, I got to do this. But now that it seems, to be working, so now it's like, okay, what can I do to assist what's going on? Because if this medication stops working, I want to have something else that's going on to kind of assist.
Yeah, I had to do the same thing because I was on a lot of drugs, a lot of different medications to keep the swelling and all these different things going on in my digestive tract down. But in addition to that, I did acupuncture, and I did certain herbs, and so you never stop your medication. You but you incorporate these other things and
Right.
just make sure they don't interact some type of way with what you're taking, and then. As you start to, meditation is also good. Meditation.
son told me that.
Okay? If you start doing those things, when you start feeling better, and this is years, it's not going to be overnight.
Absolutely.
Then you can start doing these more and cut back on this.
Exactly. And
Dr. Maria.
that's the plan. It's like, okay, I know I got to take this step, and then, okay, what's the next step after this? Okay, I got to make sure I've got my psychiatrist in place. I'm going to make sure I've got my therapist in place.
Right.
And now, okay, what are the next steps that I can do to make sure that I stay on this journey?
Right,
Because I'm finally at the point where I realize the depression is not worth the mania. It's
isn't.
not worth it. But it used to be. I love the mania
Right,
because
right.
it makes me productive.
Right.
But
right.
I realize now that flip side ain't worth it.
Right.
It's so much worse. It's just so much worse, and I never want to be in that state again. Because, like I said, I don't have a desire to die. There's nothing going on in my life that says I don't want to be here. But my brain was telling me I didn't want to be here.
So I wanted to piggyback on something Maria was just stating. But, as far as the meditation, how often do you meditate?
So I had started meditating when I was living in Upper Marlboro, and then I stopped because I was manic. My brain couldn't settle.
And she couldn't keep still.
I couldn't keep still. My brain couldn't settle.
Like you.
Couldn't. So now that I am back even, I've actually started trying again. So now I'm getting back on the medication horse, the meditation horse, and trying to get back into it. Because at one point, it was really helping me. It was helping me. If I did it in the morning, it would help me get through the day. But like I said, when I'm in that manic state, I can't meditate. My brain will not settle.
Got it.
But now that I'm even, I can go back and do it again.
When I think about people meditating, I see, as far as meditation, what happens with our mind actually goes out, and our heart is magnetic. So our brain sends waves out, our thoughts send things out, and our heart receives it. But what I believe is what most people are doing, it's the reverse. They're seeing things and then allowing it to affect their heart and their emotions. So the sight affects their emotions rather than their mind affecting their heart, which then when I meditate, that's what I'll meditate and I'll see, and that's what I was going to earlier. As far as the greatest part of your life, and I want to just find out where that was. I know it wasn't your wedding.
I know what it was.
Okay, can you share with me?
It was the birth of my first child.
I knew it. I said the kids.
And the reason,
I said
but
the
here's
kids.
why. I told you my dad remarried when I was 4. So I had a horrible relationship with my stepmother because I felt like she was standing in the way of my birth mother coming back.
And they just trash. No, I'm just kidding.
We had a horrible relationship. It was not until I had my first son. He was born. My mom's birthday is July 3rd. He was born July 4th at like 12:05.
That's my father's birthday.
My mother was there with me the whole time, holding my hand.
Your biological?
No,
Yes,
my
okay.
stepmother. So when I say my mom, I'm talking about my stepmom.
Okay.
She was holding my hand all the way through.
Right
That was the moment that we bonded.
there. That's when you knew
That
she
was the-
really
that's
did
when I
love
knew.
you. And
That's when
she
I
was there for you.
I was 18 when I had him. Yeah, I was 18. That's when I knew. That is the greatest moment, and it's like
And it
I
took
can feel
that
myself tearing
long.
up now
It took that long.
so since since I started the Prozac, I'm 50 years old. I told my mother,
We're all past
I
that.
take my medicine. Look, I told my mother I take my medicine at 3 o'clock every day. She said, "Okay, I'm gonna call you." I said, "All right, Mom." Every day.
But that's
at 3
what-
o'clock,
that's
she
what
calls
they
me.
do.
Did you take your medicine? Yes, Mommy, I took my medicine.
That's what they do. That's what they do. I know your mom would do that, and my mom would too.
Mm-hmm. And it's like I spend as much time as I possibly can trying to tell her and show her how much I love her because I was horrible as a child.
He just showed you.
I was horrible.
But you had a little bit of an excuse.
A little bit.
Okay? You did.
But yeah.
So, but at the age of, I'm going to say seven, is that 8 years old? At third grade?
Third grade is.
So yeah, so whatever,
Yeah, it's
whatever.
like
Seven or eight.
So
Seven or eight.
did looking back over it, did you have that chemical imbalance at that age of?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So,
Absolutely.
So
I know I did
When do you
because-
believe that you had that imbalance was there in your life?
Definitely elementary school because I had suicidal thoughts in elementary school. And I had a couple of attempts where I tried to take pills and throw them up. So yeah, elementary school.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So someone right now who, how would they know if they are just in a manic or depressive state and they need assistance? How would they know? Someone out there
As
right
a
now.
child, you're not
As a
gonna
child, yeah.
They, so
You
they know
need-
it now. That they.
You need an adult that can recognize. I think the more people who seek to learn about depression, the signs of depression, the signs of mania, the bipolar, everything else, ADHD, if they can learn to recognize those signs, then you can put up an antenna. Now, I don't know if this is what's going on with you, but maybe. So let me watch it as a child. As an adult, I knew that I couldn't trust my thoughts, but it really was not until I was in my late 40s. Because then again, my oldest daughter, every time I had a thought about something I wanted to do, I would run it by her.
Okay.
Because she could tell me.
Meaning harming yourself.
No, just a thought. Like if I was going to make a decision about making a purchase, or I was going to make a decision about, doing something. To me, it sounds logical, but for her, she's like, no, Mom. No, you don't need to do that. And I'm like, okay. But I trust her. So there's got to be a level of trust. Because if I didn't trust my kids, I
Wow.
wouldn't listen to them.
Yes.
But I trust them explicitly because I know they have my best interest at heart. So I know when I talk to my kids and I say, hey, this is what I'm thinking, and they're like, no. I'm like, okay, I won't do it then.
Okay, so because you know that they have your best interest,
Mm-hmm.
even though at that particular time you want to move forward with this action,
Right.
They know that action
Right.
eventually would harm you.
Right. And before, I wouldn't even do that. I would just do whatever it was I was thinking. I just do it.
So how are the children? Is everybody okay?
Everybody is great. I do have my youngest daughter. She and I have discussed this. She's in therapy because she's dealing with a lot. So I've got two daughters. One I call my mini-me, the oldest one, because she looks like me. She's just a light-skinned version of me. And then there's the baby girl who doesn't look like me, looks like her dad, but acts exactly like me. Everything I did, she did. My kids, I have great kids. Nobody went to jail. Nobody had teenage pregnancies. And so, but I say that baby girl, everything that her siblings did not do, she did. Everything they didn't do, she did.
How old is she?
Now she is 24, 25 this year.
Any of them still home with you?
No.
Oh, you're
So, I was in a 4-bedroom house in Upper Marlboro. then the girls were with me, and then they got their own houses, and I downgraded to a 1-bedroom apartment in Northeast.
Okay,
You
so
can't
they
come
can
back.
never
You
come
can't
back
come back.
anyway.
I told them, I said I need at least 2 years by myself.
See, at least you listen. See,
I need at least 2 years by myself. I just got to be by myself. But yeah.
So have you identified? Does the youngest one is she exhibiting any of those manic or
Oh
depressive
yeah.
states?
Oh, absolutely.
So you have
Absolutely.
her. You have her.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Has she been diagnosed or anything yet?
I believe she has been diagnosed bipolar, and I think she's going through some medication things. I know that she had switched jobs and she had to find a new therapist because the insurance wouldn't take it or something. So she's going through that now.
so is it hereditary?
I
They
don't
say
know.
depression is. They
I
say,
think it
they say
is,
depression is. So my
because-
father suffered with it. He had some suicidal thoughts, and my biological mother suffered, and she has.
I
suicidal
definitely
thoughts.
think it is because, yeah, I ain't gonna go into detail why, but I think it is. Yeah. I think it is.
So if someone needs assistance, is there a phone number that they can contact, or who should they contact?
For like mental health
Yes.
assistance. I mean, Uncle Google is your friend. You know, I would just like type in depression, and there's gonna be tons of helplines that pop up.
Okay.
You know, I keep
And-
seeing the commercials for BetterHelp. So you know, if you don't want to go into an office, you can do it virtually.
Yeah.
They
They're
come
on
on
the
YouTube.
screens of a lot
We'll
of
put the
movies
phone number.
too.
We'll put the phone number down below.
Yeah,
so
we'll
it's
find
easy
a
to
number.
read.
Many phone numbers, but they have
Yeah, for
a.
me, I started with my health
We
insurance.
got a question.
Yes, we
Yeah,
have.
because the mental health person came to our school and she said like the suicide hotline is 988.
988
So,
for the suicide
Yeah,
hotline.
so Gabby, who's our producer, she says the mental health line is 988
For suicide.
for suicide. 988.
So dial 988 if you feel like you want to do something to yourself.
That's
You can also
that's
text them.
yeah.
Or you can text. You can
Yeah,
text
they
or
got to
you can
do that
phone.
now because kids don't talk on the phone and they don't
And the
talk.
thing about that though is like I said, my latest episode, I couldn't stand hearing the phone. I had to turn my phone off, so I couldn't pick up the phone and dial. You know, I couldn't do it because I'm literally on my couch with the covers over my head, just saying over and over, my brain is trying to trick me. I couldn't do anything beyond that. I couldn't pick up the phone and call and then, like I said, it wasn't until 9 when it's like, okay, this is too much. I can't handle this. I got to call my doctor. I got to go commit myself at that point. And at that point, I started to get sleepy and just went to sleep. So it's not as easy as just picking up the phone. And so what I have in place now is all the kids have a key to my apartment. If I don't answer my phone, somebody's coming in my house. They're not going to wait. They're just coming in my house. And I have to live that way. I have to because I don't want to die.
Wow. Well, as we're gonna land this plane, this has been so. It's my eye opening for myself.
I told you I was going to be open.
Yes. And so we truly appreciate you stopping by, being. Oh my God, you just don't understand.
You can help other people.
Yes, the impact that you are going to have to help someone going forward.
Absolutely.
And if you are if you're struggling, please see the signs. If you have a loved one who may be dealing with these issues, kind of notice the signs, and as Vina showed you some of the signs that you can kind of pick up of the loved ones that you have. Help them
make a plan.
to put a plan together. I love the aspect of you journaling. That the journaling is a phenomenal way to actually keep up with it. And Maria shared that you can look at your diet too. Not only what your actions are, but what you're intaking in your that you're intaking in your body. That is awesome also. So, but we have what we call here 60 seconds of fire. So I want to finish up with 60 seconds of fire. So while we do that, let them know how they can get in contact with you. They want to keep in contact with you.
So I am on Facebook, Venus Brown. I'm a licensed realtor in Maryland. You can Google me. I'll pop up. My phone number, 443-800-2527. Yeah, really, social media or text me. I don't care.
All right. Okay, 60 seconds of fire. is this. It's kind of rapid fire, so I'm just going to throw a sentence or a question at you, and you just answer with the first thing that comes in your mind.
Okay.
Do you believe that you are more motivated in your life by love, impact, or money?
Money.
Okay, put it in order. So money.
Oh, really? Okay. Money, impact, love.
Okay, all right. What do you believe your biggest but in life is?
Biggest butt?
Yes, I would have been this place in my life, but.
That's kind of hard. I think maybe I would be further along in my career, in my life, but for my mental illness.
Okay. What do you believe your greatest? Because we all know what assets are. Assets are, your bank account, cars. Those are assets. What do you believe your greatest invisible asset is? I.e., generosity, kindness, trust. One of your greatest invisible that people may not know. Your greatest invisible asset.
I think it's my generosity, being of service.
Okay. Service. You
Yeah.
did say service. All right. We all talk about how people should be fearless in life, but I want to just do a little twist on that. Share with us your top 3 fear list. The top 3 things that you may be fearful of.
Not being there for my kids or my parents. Even though I know, it's difficult, but sometimes I have a fear of never finding the one. And what is my next business? Poverty. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And the last one. Finish this statement for me. We're gonna put this in the book. We're making a book like this. Life is about. Finish the statement.
Life is about living. Living, not just being. Living. It's a verb. It's an action.
Yes.
Living. Every single day. And being grateful that I woke up.
Ooh,
I agree.
okay. So we're gonna finish on that. Well, guys, this has been very, very powerful today. Again, we normally laugh and loving and joking, but today was very serious. So, if you do need mental health assistance, please don't be afraid to reach out. This is your partner, Frankie P.
Maria P.
Tracy P. and I'm single.
And
Venus B. Also single. Call us. Call her.
and remember, guys, you change your perspective, you change your life. When you change your perspective, you change your life. When you change your perspective, if you need assistance, the suicide hotline is 988. And guess what? You can save your life.
Yeah.
Peace.
Peace.